So, when did the leading start for Family Church Erie?
5 years ago, we started broadcasting our radio program on WCTL, local Christian radio, and since then we had a lot of response from the community. We had people that would call, we had people that would send us emails, people that would contact the church, and even some that would even ask if we were ever going to have a satellite location in Erie. And we always just knew in our heart that we would have a location here. First day that we ever looked at potential rental properties, we were shown a very nice storefront on 38th Street, and it was very clean, very excellent, had good parking. We just thought, hey, this will work, and we thought, wow. Maybe our search is over in one day. Maybe this is just going to be out here one day, have a place, and get this going, sooner than later. And we inquired about it. We put in a rental offer and so on. And at the last minute, it fell through. They agreed to rent it to a different tenant. Well, then we found a building on State Street that we really liked, and it was a doctor's office. That fell through. We were tempted to be discouraged. It felt like 2 months of wasted time, but we just kept coming. We just weren't going to quit. We stumbled upon the idea that the Amish Buggy may actually be for sale. The thoughts started to come like, how would you buy that? How would you afford that? How would that happen? But again, we just said, we're not going to put God in a box. We're not going to limit him. And so we said we'd be willing to go take a look, and we did. Long story short, the big milestone came when, after all that negotiation, we arrived at a price that was just miraculous in terms of God's provision to acquire that building so far less than what it's actually worth, and also a miraculous donation came in. So we started to see why those other doors were closing, because the entire time God was working up something that was miraculous. So what had happened, before we closed on the building on the last day of 2015, we had received information that we were legally permitted to hold services and to have a church at that property. So we were all excited. Renovations began the first of the year of 2016. Our plans were to open the building by the end of the month, the end of January 2016. And so renovations began. We built a platform, we installed the sanctuary, we put in children's rooms and so on. And we got ready and held our opening service on January 29th of 2016. And then shortly after that, we received a notice that we were to cease from having services immediately. And of course, again, another temptation, another hurdle, another feeling like, this isn't going to happen. And so then we began the process of making the building compliant for an assembly use. So one of the first renovations that we had to do to get this on the road to compliance is that we needed to seal the upper level off from the bottom level. And the way we did that is, first and foremost, is this beautiful grand staircase that's in the building, and now it leads up into a wall. See, before it was a mercantile building. It was a furniture store, and it had a mercantile occupancy. But moving it over into an assembly building puts it under a whole different list of building codes, and wow, did it just really catch us off guard. And this was part of the project. We had to, of course, build interior walls in order to what they call compartmentalize the floor space, so it would shrink down those occupancy numbers, and so we needed a children's room anyway, and this is our nursery. We're using it up for age 5. It was, very disappointing, and so we rented part of the conference center up at the Hilton Garden Inn, up at the top of Peach Street, and so we began holding services there. So this part, if you were ever in this building before, when it was the Amish Buggy, this was all completely open showroom space, but now we've added a back wall to what is now our sanctuary, and we've also built another children's room over here. We've created a corridor. It gives us children's space, it gives us classroom space for the future. That got us into the fall of 2016. We thought we were ready to get into our building, and we literally had an approval. We were ready to go, and then they came back and said, nope, you can't get in your building. You have a whole nother project to do, and that is the fresh air ventilation requirements. So these windows were the final piece of the puzzle for us to get this building open on February 25th. These windows, they were the solution to our fresh air requirements. So everything we've seen up to this point has satisfied the needs for phase 1, but in the future we're going to expand into the rest of this building, and that will be phase 2. And what that'll include will be moving into the upstairs. There is about 12,000 square feet up there of beautiful space that we're going to eventually reorganize into new classrooms, new sanctuary space. We're excited about that. The final piece of the puzzle is in. We only have to do some cleanup, and I'll tell you what, there has been many hindrances along this way, from trying to find a place to hold our services, to the purchasing process, to the code compliance, to so many things that try to rise up against us, but God has been faithful this whole time. And I'll tell you what God will do for an entire church, He will do for the individual as well. He is a God of victory. He is a God of making a way when there seems to be no way. And I'll tell you what, if you won't give up, He won't give up on you. And so we're just standing here, and we want to make sure that God gets all the glory for what He's done.